The Promise Under the Willow Tree. It was a warm summer evening when Isabel stood at the edge of the old oak tree, gazing at the vast stretch of golden fields that surrounded her childhood home. The breeze, filled with the scent of wildflowers, tugged at her hair, but her mind was far away, lost in the memories of a past she had tried so hard to forget. 5 years ago, she had left this town with a heart full of dreams, ready to build a life away from the small village where she had grown up. She had left behind everything, including Lucas. But it wasn't just distance that had kept them apart, it was a promise, one made in haste, one that Isabel now wondered if she could ever keep. Lucas had been her best friend, her confidant, and eventually, the love of her life. They had grown up together, played together, and shared countless memories. From their first kiss under the willow tree by the riverbank to the quiet evenings spent talking about their future, Lucas had always been the one person who made Isabel feel whole. But when the time came for Isabel to leave for college, she had made a decision. She had told Lucas that their paths were different, that their lives were going in opposite directions. She had told him they could never be together because her dreams were too big to be confined to the small town they had grown up in. And with that, she left. For years, Isabel threw herself into her career, moving from one city to the next, chasing the dream of becoming a successful architect. She had built a life for herself, filled with friends, opportunities, and new experiences. Yet, no matter how far she went, no matter how many beautiful places she visited, there was always a part of her that longed for the one thing she had left behind. Now, standing in front of her childhood home, Isabel felt a familiar tug in her chest. She had come back for her mother's birthday, but deep down, she knew the real reason she had returned was to face the one person she had never truly let go of, Lucas. The sound of footsteps approaching broke her from her thoughts. She turned to see him standing at the edge of the field, just as she had imagined him all these years. Lucas hadn't changed much, his hair was a little longer, his face a little more weathered, but his eyes were still the same. The eyes that had always understood her better than anyone else. Isabel? Lucas said her name softly, as if unsure that she was really standing before him. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Isabel could feel the weight of all the years that had passed between them, all the unspoken words, all the pain. She could see the questions in his eyes, but there was no judgment. Only the same love that had always been there. "Hi, Lucas," Isabel said, her voice catching in her throat. Lucas took a few steps closer, his gaze never leaving hers. "I didn't expect to see you here. I thought maybe you'd moved on, like you said you would." Isabel felt a pang of guilt. "I did move on. But I couldn't forget. You never came back," he said quietly. "You promised me you would. You promised me we'd stay in touch, but then you disappeared." "I know," she whispered, her heart heavy with the truth. "I'm sorry, Lucas. I didn't mean to hurt you. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I was wrong. I thought leaving would make it easier for us both, but it never did. I never stopped thinking about you." Lucas looked away, his jaw clenched. "You broke my heart, Isabel. I loved you more than anything. And you left me here, alone." Isabel took a step forward, her hand reaching for his. "I know. And I'm sorry. I was selfish, Lucas. I thought that if I could just escape, I could forget everything. But I couldn't forget you. I never could." For a long time, they just stood there, the world around them quiet, as if holding its breath. Then, Lucas finally turned to face her, his eyes softening. "You think we could start over?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know if I can forgive you for leaving, Isabel. But maybe we could try again." Isabel felt tears sting her eyes as she looked at him. "I've wanted that more than anything, Lucas. I've regretted leaving you every single day. But I was scared. I thought I had to build a life on my own. I thought I had to be independent." Lucas gently cupped her face in his hands, his thumb brushing away a stray tear. "You didn't have to do it alone. I would have been right here with you, if you'd let me. Isabel closed her eyes, letting his touch wash over her, the warmth of his hands bringing her comfort. I was so afraid of everything, of being tied down, of losing myself. But now, I realize that I was never truly myself without you. Lucas pulled her into a gentle embrace, his arms wrapping around her, holding her close. You don't have to lose yourself, Isabel. Not with me. You never had to. They stood there for what felt like an eternity, holding on to each other, letting the weight of the past melt away. Isabel knew that they couldn't go back and erase the years that had been lost, but maybe that was okay. Maybe what mattered now was the present, the second chance they had been given. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the field, Lucas pulled away just slightly, his hand still resting on her cheek. You know, he said with a small smile, there's a willow tree by the river. We used to go there all the time when we were kids. Isabel's heart skipped a beat. I remember. We made a promise under that tree, didn't we? Lucas nodded, his eyes filled with nostalgia. We promised we'd always find our way back to each other. And I think we have. Isabel smiled, the last remnants of doubt leaving her heart. We have. And so, under the willow tree by the river, they kissed, the kiss that had been years in the making, the kiss that sealed the promise they had made as children. The promise that love, no matter how long it took, would always find a way.